This week's theme on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast is, are the new Bitcoin ETFs a good investment? Today, I'm talking about the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO. And that is a big driver for the popularity of Bitcoin and these new Bitcoin ETFs that you can now buy. You can trade Bitcoin just like you can buy and sell a stock. You can buy and sell a Bitcoin ETF. There are multiple providers that have come to market, and you can buy and sell Bitcoin as an ETF, just like you would any stock or other ETF type investment. Highly accessible now, much easier to purchase and own Bitcoin. But you have a lot of people who have flooded the market into Bitcoin since January. And a big reason for that is because of FOMO. I think the important thing to keep in mind with the new Bitcoin ETFs or any hot investment trend of the day is that FOMO is a huge driver for the popularity of any trend. And we all suffer from this fear of missing out to some extent. Like, we don't want to be left behind. We're all social creatures. Fitting in is important to our survival as a species. And FOMO is natural, and in some ways it's healthy to have that feeling like, I don't want to miss the boat on this. I don't want to be left behind. But FOMO can be ultra destructive when you apply it to financial decisions that you're making. So if you spend too much money on a house or a car because you're trying to keep up, you don't want to miss out, that can have very serious consequences, including bankruptcy, total financial ruin. If you spent too much money on a Stanley tumbler, like, that's no big deal. You may be overspent by $10 or $20. I have a $40 water bottle. It's not a Stanley, but I love it. I wouldn't not own it, but that's a small financial decision, and it's something I use every day. But if you got into flipping houses and leveraging up to your eyeballs in 2005, a lot of people did that. And now, they're looking at bankruptcy in the aftermath of that in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. Okay, we saw a lot of that. I remember shopping for a house in 2009, and there were foreclosures and short sales everywhere. When you're talking bankruptcy, financial ruin, nobody wanted to miss out on flipping houses and making what seemed like easy money. And that was highly speculative. Even less so than Bitcoin, because at least if you're buying a house now, you might be overpaying for a house and you might be leveraging, and it is speculative because you're relying on making a profit on that house, turning it over quickly, and then moving on to the next project, which that can become a house of cards, and obviously did become a house of cards for a lot of people who really got burned flipping houses. But with Bitcoin, it's even worse because, as I talked about previously, there's no fundamental value. Like, at least if you make a mistake and you overpay for a house, and if you don't go into foreclosure, there's still something there, right? You still have a house, you still own the land. There's some fundamental value there. But with Bitcoin, there's not. And so you have this Bitcoin that is now much more accessible via ETFs. It's much easier to buy. The price of Bitcoin is right back to its old highs. And the fear of missing out is particularly intense now because people are seeing that, yes, Bitcoin totally collapsed in 2022. It did pretty good actually last year in 2023 and recovered, but now it's up huge in 2024, again, coming off of the heels of last year. So nobody wants to miss out on that. I definitely feel it. I should have seen how the availability of Bitcoin ETFs would have driven the price of Bitcoin higher. It seems obvious now looking back. But then I have to remind myself of one extremely important principle when it comes to successful investing. And that is, it is perfectly fine to sit out on any hot investment trend. Okay, let me repeat that because I think a lot of people need to be reminded of this. If they're kicking themselves for missing out on something or not investing when they originally had the idea, it is perfectly fine to sit out on Bitcoin or any hot investment trend because there's going to be something else that comes along that people are going to make a ton of money in, almost cursed, and you're going to feel bad that you missed the boat on that too. And it's going to happen every few years. So you don't need to buy an investment, hit the jackpot. That's not real investing. That's gambling. If you follow the tried and true principles of consistently investing and saving and being smart with your money over a long period of time, you'll be okay in the end. The other thing that I think people forget is that You hear people talk about, oh, they were an early investor in Apple or Netflix or Microsoft or some tiny little startup in someone's garage that then turned into like this behemoth company that has made millionaires out of just everyday American and billionaires out of some of the people who were in from the beginning. But getting rich by being an early investor in any company, by being early to the pool, jumping in the pool first with Bitcoin, it's still a long-term slog. Like go back and look at the price chart for Bitcoin because it's been around now for at least 10 years. So you can see that, and especially for a lot of these big name companies that are really popular today that I mentioned, you could invest in some of these companies for 5, 10, 15 years or more and not really see that much growth. And then one day it really just starts taking off. People forget that. You could have doubled your money in Bitcoin by timing it right in a pretty short period of time, certainly. But you could have also lost nearly everything by timing it wrong. And that is also true. So give yourself permission to sit out any and all hot investment trends. You may daydream about hitting it big, retiring tomorrow with more wealth and financial security than you would need, but plain vanilla, boring, diversified portfolio investing is still capable of doubling in value every 10 years. And that's important to remember whenever your cousin starts bragging about how much he's making in Bitcoin this year. Or he rolls up in that new car at Thanksgiving this year that he bought from his Bitcoin profits, because I know that that's going to happen. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.